Yeah, record on the screen. Okay, good. I put in my headset, so it's a help. That's good. We were just talking about how I keep learning a little step each way to make this process a little bit better. Now I understand, by the way, how teachers didn't like doing virtual and in person, because it's hard, because you want to try and engage with the people in front of you. You want to engage with the people online, and it's hard. No, you don't have to. You're fine. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. I'll move this up and back as we need to. So
I might have to run early.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just work with Nancy. Let's get the follow-up schedule, though, is what I was going to say.
Right.
So if you want to get on the calendar with Nancy, and whether you do it today or tomorrow, whenever, just let's get an appointment together, right? So we don't lose the momentum we had on what we were working on.
I'm thinking now.
That's fine, but if we don't keep making progress, then it won't even be that. Yeah. I know there's definitely supposed to be more people here, but maybe, is it time? I watch. It is time, and I always feel like it's unfair to the people that come on time that other people are not punctual. Yeah. But it's just, we'll give it like one more minute or so, if you don't mind. We have Karina online, guys, and Karina, we have Priyanka and Brian here. I'll show here. Let me see if I can turn the camera so you can see them. Guys, wave. I don't know if you can see Karina here. All right, just so you're not lonely out there. All right. Okay. We got new things. Brian, you can start looking at this. We started. This is something we're going to send out to them once they're pre-approved now. We're working on some updates to processes, which is exactly what we're going to talk about, but sending these out to folks once they're approved. Karina, I'll send you the things I'm going to show in person. I will send you PDFs of them after we're done, just so that you don't miss out on it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. No one's in the waiting room, right, Nancy? Let's just roll, I think, right? We'll get started. No, if more people come in, just share it. How's that? All right, so we will get started, if that's okay with you guys. So what we're gonna talk about today is basically closing more in less time, right? That at the end of the day, that's what we want to talk about, is being able to do more business in less time than it already takes. And Karina, jump in, use the chat, or unmute yourself and ask questions if you have any, okay? And Nancy, let everyone else know that comes in. Yeah. Okay, so that's what, so is that why you guys came? Is that what you were expecting to talk about or to learn about? Yes, okay, all right, cool. So why, right? So why is this something that we want to even talk about? Because I'd like to just do a little quick check-in with you guys, right? Tell me, of the last 10 deals that you did, right? How many of them do you think that you deserve a referral on because of the work that you did and how awesome it was? Of the last 10?
11.
At least six, okay. Karina, what's your number? Of the last 10 that you did, how many do you think that the quality of your work deserves a referral?
All of them.
All of them, okay. So we've got 6 to 10, basically, right? Now, think about the last 10 transactions you have. How many of them did you receive a referral from already? You said 6 and you've got 9?
No, I was expecting 7.
Oh, you said none.
None.
Okay.
10, I've got 4, not that they were all transactions.
That's okay, but 4 referrals. Okay. Right, okay, 4. And Karina, you? Of the last 10, how many did you actually receive referrals on?
No.
None? Okay. So that's all, it's normal, by the way, right? The answers that you guys are giving are to be expected, right? I know you all work really hard, right? So you're putting out work that would suggest that you should, people would say, oh my gosh, what a great job. Why, and you're expecting that they're going to want to go and tell the world about what a great job that you did, right? Which is normal. And it's also normal that that doesn't always happen, right? So, I think it's time to take a look at your definition of a successful transaction, because that sometimes falls into play here. So how would you define a successful transaction?
If the client gets the right amount of thinking about the house,
Okay, so the client gets what they're expecting
what is expected,
or what they wanted. Okay,
closing, everything, and even the mortgage, everything falls into place.
okay,
In the timeline, everything falls into there. It's what they were expecting.
okay. So it falls into place the way that they were expecting it. Okay,
I think
that's a successful transaction.
just, fluff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Even if you try, sometimes it doesn't.
Yes, yes. So the things have to fall into place. Okay, cool. Karina, how would you define a successful transaction? I don't know if I tried to repeat what Priyanka said here. Hopefully you were able to hear.
Yep. One that goes as smooth as it can go. Obviously, there's always
One that goes as smooth as can. I have you in my ear so they can't hear you. Actually, maybe they can. If you turn your audio on quick, I wonder if, hang on a second. I want them to be able to hear you, Karina. So, and you can hear them better. If you log into your audio, how did you leave audio? Now that I have it in my ear, maybe you can. And then Karina, you just let us know if you hear an echo, okay? Because we're going to try and turn on 2 audios.
Okay.
No? Maybe I can join it from this. Hold on. If you don't do it, let me do it here. Okay, go on, Karina. If you can do it, Nancy, go ahead. Just join the audio again. You know how you left audio? Okay, so I'm sorry, Karina, you go on with your answer.
Okay. One that goes as smooth as it can go. Obviously, there could be issues, but finding resolution and moving along.
Okay, going smooth and resolution. Okay. Brian, anything different?
I think it's
Leave audio
a
again.
deal that, gets to closing, and even if it didn't go smoothly, you and the other side were able to work through those rough patches.
Okay.
And with good communication to your clients, explain why things happened the way they did. And eventually, of course, get to the closing table and both parties are satisfied.
Okay. Did you hear that, Karina? Or yes. Okay. Yep. So successful, but if there's issues, you resolve them together, are in communication. If I could sum that up, right? That would be okay. Cool. And those are all, great ideas of what a successful transaction is. How about if we add one more important step to that? Because at the end of the day, you have this business, right? What if we added to that your definition of a successful transaction is that you created such an experience that you generated a referral while you were engaged with that client, like during that process. When there was a hiccup and you resolved it, they were able to give you a referral while you were in the process of it. While things were going smoothly, falling into place, you got a referral during that process, during the process. What if we redefined success to be that? Because, all the things that you all said have to happen in order for them to want to refer you during, right? They're not going to refer you during if it's falling apart, if it's not going smooth, you're not communicating when problems come apart, right? If you're doing those things, they're not going to refer you. But if you're doing those things and they referred you during the process, would that be a definition of success that you'd like? Yeah. Because what does that mean, right? more families that you get to help, right? So do you want to talk about that? Yeah. Would that be a good thing to talk about? Okay. So along those same lines, right? When we talk about that, I know it's like what's the word? It's a question that's the answer is obvious, right? A rhetorical question. That's what I was thinking of. But do you want, more referrals, or do you want more leads? What do you want? More referrals, right? More referrals, right? So then the question is, what makes you referable, right? So you want more referrals. So how are you going to be referable is the question then. How are you going to do that? And what's going to happen that they're going to refer you? So I'll tell you, if you take away nothing else right now, right? I know we're going to talk about systems and that's going to be awesome. But if you take away nothing else, just remember to ask for the referrals. in the transaction.
Oh.
Just ask.
Yes, yes.
It's so simple, but so hard to do, right? Because we feel sometimes, I don't know about you, but I've had this thought, I'm doing such a great job. Why would they not want to refer me? Why should I have to ask, right? Or I get in my head and think, well, you know, they'll refer, and it's not appropriate. Like it feels selfish if I ask right now. There's all these different things that go through our heads, and I'm sure you've got your own, right? Maybe some of those and some others that you're thinking about as to why you don't ask. And it's uncomfortable to ask because we all fear what? The no, right? The big 2-letter word of no. But you guys all know, right, that the more no's mean that you get to a yes, right? Unless we hear the no's, we're never going to get to the yeses. And if you don't hear the no's, it's because you're not asking, right? And if we're not asking, then we're never going to find out. So simply in that moment of gratitude, when they say, oh, you did such a great job, it's so cool that everything's going so smooth. Awesome. Well, hey, who else do you know that would like to buy or sell a home that we can create a smooth process for as well? That's it, right? I thank you. And who else do you know? Like, it's that simple to just put those words in. But it's, you know, we get in our heads about all the different reasons why we don't want to do that. So are you guys all willing to take that on, I guess, is the question, and just ask the question? Because you all said you're doing smooth, the way you're creating a smooth process for your clients and making sure you communicate and doing all those things, you're already doing the hard work. Theoretically, this is the easiest part, right? It's just one extra sentence in what you're already doing. Are you ready to take that on and do that? Yes, 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 Karina, yes. I see a head nod there, okay. So as I said, if you tune me out right now and stop listening and you just do that, I promise you, you'll have more families that you get to help. Promise you that you will. So that's all you need to do is execute on that one thing, and you'll have more families that you help, okay? But let's not stop there if you're up for it, right? Yeah, okay. So what makes you more referable then, right? Is of course the asking, you're doing the great process. And then, you know, we talked about doing more in less time too, right? So, you know, it's about thinking about what do you think of about your work? Do you view it as a job or do you view it as a business? No right or wrong answer. I'm just curious how you view it.
I see as a business.
As a business.
As a business? Karina, as a business for you? Yes, okay. So business, okay, so you guys have a business. So that's cool because, you know, when you have a job versus a business, you're going to think about things in a little bit of a different light, right? So if you're in a job, right, then there's different mindsets that you have, and there's different hours that you're expected to work, and there's especially, and I'm talking about as a real estate agent, right? By the way, so again, your mindset is that I've got a job to do, I've got work to do, versus when you have a business, this is so much fun. I'm building something, I'm, you know, creating something for myself, a legacy, however it is that you view your business, right? When you think about the hours that you work too, right? When you're in a job, a lot of times you just work until you get the work done, and you just keep working and working. When you have a business, you get to define your hours and you get to make your hours, right? And then when you talk about income, right? When you view yours as a business, potential is limitless, right? So you've got that fixed thing. And then of course, how you do it, right, is when you're, again, in a job, you're going to just, and there's more, by the way, you both know, you all know that, right? But I'm just saying, this is just a few things. You're going to just follow and do what's told to you, right? But when you're in a business, you need to develop processes and build systems for yourself and your workflow. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. Obviously, there's a lot more, but this is what we're going to focus on right now. And again, the goal is to create a repeatable, referable experience. So that as you have client 1 coming to you, client 2, they're going to walk away and be able to say the same consistent things about how awesome you are, because it's not just, oh, I did that really well, and then I forgot to do it here, or I didn't have time, or any of that, right? Because we're creating a repeatable business that when I refer you, Branka, I know that this is what I'm going to get by referring you, right? So you want to be able to give people consistency of knowing that when I go and tell my friend that this is the experience that I had working with you, then I know that she's going to get the same experience, right? You want them to say the same message. And it all starts with understanding what that experience is that you want to create, right? And what you're looking to deliver. what is your why, right? What are you trying to do and who are you trying to do it for? And so kind of backing up and thinking, what is my mission here? What's important to me? What do I want people to think about me when they hear about me, right? Like, what's the image that I want? What's my brand to represent? So you want to make sure that you have an idea of what that is. And it's broader than the generic, if you will, right? And I don't mean this with any offense, but I'm a great agent and I care about my clients, right? So there's got to be something that people can consistently say about you all the time because you're delivering the same experience. And you have to define what you want that to be and make sure that every action you're taking is falling in place with that mission of yours, right? So I'll share ours just to give you some idea, right? So ours is about, for us, it's I kind of look at it as making sure I try and address every pillar of it, right? So first is making sure that internally for our team, that we're creating a place that our team feels valued and fulfilled, and that it's a place that they love to be. So that's important to us, first of all, because obviously if they're not happy, then the rest of the folks that are being served are not happy, right? So, and then two, from a client experience, right, our goal is that we make sure that we are educating them and helping them deliver value, not just now, but for the next 30 years. So our goal is to really be different in our client's eyes by not just being about a transaction, but adding value for the long term. And then when it comes to you guys, our partners, our goal is to help you grow and love and build a business that you love, right? And enjoy it every day, right? Not feel like it's a job, not feel like it's something that you're, bearing through, right? Because you need to put food on the table. Something that you love and build, and that you can do it with the time to enjoy the rest. And then we also are very much community, so we're serving and giving back. 4 pillars by which we do everything, always with that in mind. And so we make sure that that's you should have your starting ground, whatever you want to have your starting. Once you know what your starting ground is, then you want to develop a workflow. And out like, hey, this is what happens when a listing or when we're talking to prospects. Do you have any stuff like already outlined?
No, not really.
Yep.
Yeah, but then I have to develop my own.
Yep. Right.
Have that for clients. Yeah, where they're going to go and what they need to do.
Yeah.
On either. Not something I can do.
Okay.
And this is what you need to get done.
Okay, got it. So that's what you're doing. Okay, so you've got a little bit set up. Karina, can you hear me better now or no? Okay. Sorry, I guess the earbud was falling out a little bit. Okay. And Karina, do you have processes written out, identified?
I do not. I try to follow the same behavior, but I don't have a process written down, and that's something that I've been wanting to work on.
Okay, perfect. So you're in the right place then. Let's talk about that. Perfect. Okay, so here, let's get started, right? Would you all? Thank you, Nancy. Awesome. So you turned it on just at the right time. That's great. So let's talk about that, because this is a way that you create that repeatable experience, right? And you might have bits of it, right, and pieces of it, but it's Nancy, how many checklists and processes do we have? and Brian, every time you work with us, you kind of know what to expect. Okay, so folks know what to expect by working with us because we have a lot of processes and systems, right? So so how do you get started if you don't have this all done, right? Because it is effort, by the way. Okay, this doesn't just happen overnight. It's been years and years of me building systems, and every time we keep working on. When I say years of it, I mean the first few were fine, but then you keep developing it more and more. And I was just showing you something that we just added, right? So we keep working on updating it. So it's not like a final product, but it's a starting place. So the first thing I would encourage you all to do is to start documenting what you are doing already. Okay. So you may already be doing, I'm sure you already are doing a great job, but you don't have identified the components of what you're doing that are making that experience so great for your clients, right? So if so next, as you're going through and I would start from the beginning, like from the lead stage, right? When somebody calls or when you get someone to make an introduction, start at that point and document and say, okay, this is what happens now. This is what I did, and just write what you're doing already.
Well, I do that. I mean, see, I don't know if I would consider that. I do that in every transaction. I keep notes back to hold them at 11:35, awaiting response, leaving a message. And I feel that maybe while I didn't write that down as practice, that's so I can always refer back to where we were, what didn't get done, what was done, what was supposed to be done,
Right.
maybe something I was waiting on from their side,
Right.
or even if it's spoke to their lender.
Yeah.
And got an update.
Right.
Spoke to their lawyer, got an update.
Perfect.
So I keep notes on all transactions, so I don't have to guess.
Yeah.
Do that. I can
So that's
guess.
perfect. You may be able to go back and look at some that you've done.
Last year on, that did
Yeah.
on January 15th. If there were a deal going on.
Yeah, and that's awesome, because I think what that'll allow you to do then is you may not have to start at the same places. If you haven't been documenting, you may be able to go back and look at it, and you look at a couple and say, okay, this is what, when a lead comes in, the first thing I do is typically, so what I'm talking about is also then writing down and saying the first time a new person comes in the door, like our process is they get entered into our CRM, right? And our lead tracker, right? So we have a specific process that says when a new lead comes in, enter them into these two things, right? And then we have a process that says for new leads, you try them on day one, right? So if you tell us, Pinky, call, Bob, right? He wants to buy a house. Then immediately Nancy's going to call Bob, and we know who's doing it. If you have a team, I don't think any of you have teams, right? But so you'll do it, but you'll say, okay, I'm going to call, Bob day one. Bob didn't answer. Automatically, we have a task set that she's going to call on day 2, day 3, day 6, day 9. So we know when the follow-ups are to be done as well. So we haven't just identified that a new lead comes, but we've identified exactly when we're going to be calling all these folks. So again, it doesn't happen to be like I'm walking around and I'm doing my laundry and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that new client called. What happened? Like maybe I should follow up with them. And by the way, I used to do that, just so you know. Okay, so that's where I started out. That was what I did. And it was like, and then it would be like literally a week later, I'm like, I wonder what happened to that person. Let me call them now. So there was no system or, so I've come a long way, right, Nancy, now that you know where I am now. Because this is literally how I started my business. Was I would just call and I remember, and someone would give me a lead, I'd write it down, I'd call them and they didn't answer the first time. And, I'd try to call again. And then it was, maybe they're not interested. Oh, can you edit it, Nancy? Yeah.
I can't see what it is from here.
So thank you. Whoops. Got myself. Okay. That totally distracted me way more than it should have. Okay. So developing that process though is super important, because then what it does is it allows you then to know you don't have to think, right? There's plenty of places where you have to think. But this eliminates some of the thinking of should I call, should I not call? And what it also does is ensure, again, that consistent process. So again, when you refer somebody to me, you'll know that we're not going to drop the ball on checking in with them, right? You know that we follow up, and it's because we have this process. And we have tools, and I'll tell you about some of the tools, but we have tools. So there's no opportunity for us to make a mistake and just rely on our memory or rely on whatever. You know exactly what's expected. And so that's what you want your clients to be able to expect from you, right? Because as they go through it, for them to know that this is your process. And then we actually vocalize a lot of our processes to people, right? So that again, when somebody comes in and we have a new client, we tell them this is what's going to happen. And then you can expect this, and then you can expect this, because we have it. So they know. And then that gives them the confidence to know that if they send somebody over, that they're going to probably have a similar experience because of that. So that's the repeatable part of it, right? And that's important. That's what you have processes to do. So if you're writing down your workflow, right, and you could just jot it down, theoretically, and then you want to identify what works from what you're doing. And then maybe you're going to identify what maybe you want to improve on, right? So you have a starting place, and then you're going to say, okay, I know that I do this for my initial consults, or maybe I don't do an initial consult, but I really should. So I'm going to put that in. Or my initial consult needs to be beefed up. So you'll go through and you'll identify what's working, what's not working. And then you might add like wish list items. You might think about tools that you're using already, and maybe some, again, wish list tools that you want to be using. So I'm assuming all of you are using a CRM, or yes, no, I know you are.
Oh, no.
Okay, so that'll be the first thing you want to probably do. Okay, but identify the tools and stuff that you have in place, because that'll be super helpful. So that's step number 1, right, of what you want to be doing. Hi, Padmini. Um, okay.
Hi, Pinky.
Good to have you
Sorry
join us.
about Thank you. Sorry to be late.
That's okay. We're glad you're here. We're
Thank
already
you.
underway, so we'll send you the slides after so you can catch up on what we did before.
Appreciate that. Thank you again.
Yes. So what I thought, I'll share with you our client's experience. So again, so that you can have an understanding of like what an example of a workflow can look like, right? So for us, it all starts with a trusted handoff from the referring person, right? So whether it be the client, you guys, a financial planner, whoever it may be, we start with that trusted handoff. And then after that, we do an initial dreams and goals call if they are not ready yet, right? If they are, then they go right into the pre-qualification and pre-approval. And we have more processes within that, but this is the high level. And then we do a welcome, a pre-purchase consultation at which afterwards, and this is what I mean, we add things to it. We're adding in that welcome packet at this point, right? That's something new that we added to the process. So even though there was a great process in place already, it's always looking for ways. I'm always looking for ways to keep updating it and making it even better. And then we do check-ins, right? So we just built a text campaign. So once they're pre-approved, now I have scheduled texts that go out to them for 90 days, basically. So now I'm touching in and saying, hey, how are you? Congratulations. Hey, just a reminder, don't forget to use our Fairway Now app. Hey, just a reminder, we're going to call the listing agent on your behalf. So we do all those things. And we remind them and then we've also added in a couple of what I call encouragement texts because, it's hard, right? If you're getting out to 50 days and you haven't found a house yet, some of them are getting a little discouraged. So we also put in texts that say, I think I actually wrote chin up on one of them or something like that, something corny. But the point is that we are checking in and we have a process by which this happens is the main part of it, right? And then, we have the call to the listing agents, right? And then we do the contract meeting once a contract comes in. And I think I might have put it in here. I have a contract meeting template that I use, and we have a contract meeting. And so I know that I'm always covering the same elements, right? And then we talk about, we do weekly calls to the buyers and buyers agents, right? And again, we have a spreadsheet and every week we're calling, right? And it's because we're consistent. And again, that if you're in a transaction with us, you can expect a call from us on what day? Tuesdays, right? So that you can expect calls from us on Tuesdays. And then we just added this, and I'll send you guys on the computer, but we just added this, which is a moving box, okay? So this is actually, when I say we added it, this is the very first box that's gonna go out. But when their loan gets approved, we're gonna be sending this out. It's like some moving supplies, tape and Sharpies and sticker, labels and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to send that out now. So again, 2 new things that we've just added or in the process of adding to this experience, right? Clear to close 7 to 10 days ahead of schedule, wire sent out, CD review calls, e-close, and an explanation about the e-close, post-closing calls, and then we add them to our home concierge and the whole art of homeownership package, right? And then we're introducing, right? I put coming soon. We want to introduce 1 month post-closing check-ins. And then we send them a personalized cutting board. And again, there's a process. We have a post-closing checklist so that we don't forget to do all these things on here, right? Add them to the birthday list, invitations to 2 different events. So that's our experience. And what we have is we've documented it, first of all, right? So you see it's outlined there. And then there's processes within many of those things as well. So now every client that is coming to us is going to have the same experience. And when they have that same experience, they know what to expect, right? Well, first they experience it. So we know that if they experience all that, they're going to be pretty happy, and that's going to be a different experience than any other lender is going to give them, right? First of all, would you agree? Do you know other lenders that do all this for your clients, right? So starting right there, we're creating a different experience right then and there. And then it's going to be referable because, again, we've gone above and beyond. And now because we have it documented, we're not going to miss to send a cutting board to somebody, right? We're not going to miss to do the contract meeting because it's just part of a process. So every single person is going to be able to have that same process. Now, do you make exceptions? There's always things where you have to make exceptions for, right? But at least there's going to be consistency unless there's a reason to make an exception. So what I encourage you to do is to build your own experience, right? Think about what you want that client experience to be for your clients, right? And, right now it may just be happening and you're probably doing a good job of it, but be intentional is the difference, right? Be purposeful, be intentional, and be consistent with that experience. Because when we do that, then it becomes so much, you don't have to think, like, I don't have to think about what am I going to get them as a closing gift, because I've already thought about it and I don't have to keep thinking about it and wasting my energy on it, right? I don't have to think about these other things because we've already documented it. And then it allows me to think about different things and do things like this, right? And keep expanding and growing the experience because I'm not thinking about the same things over and over again too. So that's the other part of it that I think is super helpful. So let's talk about the different tools that allow us to do all those things and that will allow you to do the same, right? You'll see CRM is probably the most important thing that you could do. If you don't have one, I would suggest getting one. You guys on the phone, do you have a CRM that you use or not? I know Brian uses one. You don't, you said, right, Priyanka? So, and then I don't know folks on the phone if they're using one or not. The question I get a lot is which CRM to use. You've probably heard this, but it's the one that you'll actually use. So there's thousands of CRMs, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of CRMs out there. And there's a lot of really good ones too. So there's not just one good CRM, there's a lot of good CRMs. But the most important thing is that you use whatever CRM you get. If you don't use it, it does you no good. So just take a look at, you know, which and talk to your colleagues and see what works for you. But there's a few, we can give recommendations if you need, but email templates. Are any of you using email templates already? You said?
I do, I mean, for follow-ups and more of the cold leads.
Yep.
Or percolating, anything that's sort of,
Yeah.
I have templates, the CRM just has it. So I can
Okay,
say,
perfect.
Are you still looking?
Yes.
Whatever it is. So with like active clients, I use it more personal.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so maybe we could talk about even incorporating that into your active clients, because isn't there the same message you have to deliver oftentimes, right? There's some consistent messages that need to be delivered, and you want them to be, right? You want to make sure you're touching them at the same points, right? We have messages that are going out at certain times, right? Like once we send out the pre-approval, right? There's a certain template that I use because it's pretty much the same thing I want to say 9 out of 10 times, right? And maybe I tweak a line in it, but 9 out of 10 times it's the same information that I want to say. And then if not, I'll tweak a sentence or two. So we have a template for that. We have a template for, hey, congratulations, your loan is approved, or hey, keep an eye out for this or do that. So we have templates for all those, because then again, there's that consistent. And if you have a CRM, you can build it into your CRM possibly. And if not, and you do it manual, you can do that too. We have our CRM lets us build some of it in. So we have like all the automated, for those of you that have worked with us, right, you'll know that you get email updates on a regular basis, and that's part of the CRM. So that's automated. But then there's other things that we have templates for that we send on an as-need basis. So, and it's part of the team too, right? So anytime there's a new client that calls us, we don't get a hold of them on that first day. We have an email, a text, and a phone message, right? And that email is a template, just like you said, it's a prospect, right? So it's a template that's set up. So that's huge, and that can save you so much time and ensure consistency, because you're not drafting up a message every time. So, and you guys know I like video, so I do incorporate videos into a lot of my email templates because it just makes it more personal. I know that's not for everybody. And then scripts, having scripts for yourself also is helpful because it helps you deal with the same things all the time. So again, you're not thinking about what am I going to do when somebody comes in and tells me, hey, you know, what about like Redfin's offering to give me some commission back, right? What am I going to do in that case? Like that's an objection you have to handle, right? Or what am I going to do when, you know, or just in general, like it just helps you not have to think about things. Again, I'm all about trying to minimize the amount of thinking that you have to do so that you can just do what you've got to do. Because if you take that out, again, you've saved time. You've saved time. And again, two things, you've saved time and you've ensured a consistent experience. And then checklist, right? We talked about that already. So checklist, and then having presentations, having a video library of tutorials for yourself. Because if you grow and decide to hire somebody, then this will help you be able to train them. So even if it's just you right now, you know that you may at some point have goals to hire somebody. So start recording yourself doing things so that you can then have it as a library to send to people. And then calendaring, I think, is super important, and just the appointment setting tools and stuff like that will save you time too. And, you know, because how many times have you gone back to it? Are you free now? Are you free then? And going back and forth trying to schedule something. So this is just a look at what our CRM looks like. It may be small, but the concept is to have a CRM, right? I don't have to look at the details, but you'll see that, we store everything. We store the referrals. So if you ask me right now, I could pull up and see how many referrals we've gotten from any one of you, right? So we're able to pull that up right now, not just how many referrals, but then what stages they're in, because we track the stage and what the conversation is and what's going on. So we can track all of that immediately because we track it. And so that's something that you do. And then we have workflow. Our CRM lets us build workflows. So we have workflows built into it. So we can say, when you move to pre-approved stage, automatically send this email out. So we have things like that. So that's a little more advanced. You may not, if you haven't been doing this, but just know that that's something that you can, reach for. Email templates. So what do you use? What system do you use for email? Outlook, Gmail, or Gmail? Okay. So I put in here on Gmail. So you know how to use the templates? You know how to use those, right? Or no? Do you know how to use them? And folks on the Zoom, if you could just put in, what are you using for your email platform? So template. So if you have Gmail, right? Basically, I put a screenshot of it to show you. So everyone's Gmail? Okay. All right. So if it's Gmail, then Karina, for you too, right? Okay. So all of you, Gmail. Okay. So what you want to take a look at is this, right? So, and maybe I can just make it bigger since you guys are all Gmail. No, maybe I can't. Okay, I'll send it to you. But in the bottom corner, there's 3 dots, right? When you click the 3 dots, the templates option should pop up for you. I don't know why this is moving on me, sorry. Maybe I'm touching it. That template option should pop up for you, and then you'll be able to you write an email, and then it will automatically save. Or not automatically save, you'll go to templates and then you'll select, you know what, hang on a sec. I wonder if we could, do you guys all want to know how to do this? Is it something that you do? You want to know how much, or you think you can figure it out?
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. If you need help, just call us and we'll show you, okay? How about that? I won't go into the deep dive on it right now. But Nini, I'll show you screenshots afterwards, okay? So, and actually what I can do for you is I will record my screen showing you how I recorded a template, and then I can send it to you guys. Nancy, if you don't mind making a note for me to do that after. And then scripts, right? We talked about this. So a basic framework, if you were to develop a script for yourself, and again, it's also helpful if you have people that you're working with. You're welcome, thank you. Is you want to identify what you want to talk about, right? Like if we have a script for it, what do you want to talk about? And then the basic concept is you want to have a frame, right? Frame that conversation, because they may say, again, hey, well, X, Y, and Zillow, right? They're in the market now. They're realtors now, right? They're offering to sell my house for 2%. Like, why should I pay you 6%? Right? So I know it's happening. I don't think they're.
You can get discount services and at discount prices, or you could use it. I think you can use it with you.
Yeah. So that's it. So basically you want to frame that's exactly it. And you want to have something ready, right? Where you can frame that
I don't
situation.
mind saying it that way. So, go ahead.
Yeah.
You want discount prices and discount services? Good luck.
Yeah, it's true. And then at the end of the day, that's the message, right? So it's about putting it together. Sometimes if you frame the situation, it kind of helps them think about it in their terms, right? So for example, when people come to me, the same thing with the rate, I'm like, hey, I tell them about the story of this client who came to me, did not end up working with me because we did not have the lowest rate. I was like, this is what we're going to do for you. No, and they're going to go. And then they came back to us and I know you're wondering who I'm talking about. They're going to come back and they came back and said they had problems with the other lender that they started to work with. And then they came back and they're like, okay, can you please get it done for us? And so that's, so then Padmini over there, Priyanka, I don't want that to happen to you, right? And I'd like to make sure that you don't end up in that situation. And the things that we do to make sure that you don't end up in that situation are X, Y, and Z, right? So, if you like, we're happy to help you. I understand that your need is to get the lowest rate or to get the lowest commission. But, at the end of the day, I don't want to see what happened to this other client happen to you, and we'd love to help you, right? So the next thing you want to do if you want to get started is X, Y, and Z. So you kind of bring it all together for them, right? is definitely a way to do it. And the other huge thing when you're doing these is don't talk too much. The inclination is to over explain, and I am guilty. I have to remind myself of this all the time. That's probably my biggest downfall. And then checklists, right? So we're going to move to checklists. So when we talk about checklists, I just, have them for every stage, right? So that you want to create that repeatable experience. You want to minimize what you have to think about every time. So you don't have to say to yourself, oh, did I remember to, ask them who their attorney is, or did I remember to collect the earnest money deposit check from them? Or did I remember to check if they're going to be away during the whole time so that we can, we don't try and schedule something and they're not here, right? So those things we ask all the time, right? And so we've got an intake form. So when we're having a new client conversation, this is the intake form, and there's more to it, but I just put a little bit of it, right? But this is a new intake form that we use. So we're going and we're not missing things like, oh my gosh, they're hourly and they're not salaried. And oh no, now I have to calculate their income. So for me, that's something that we have to think about, right? You'll have your own things that you have to think about, but we put those, and then once they have a contract in, I have a contract status meeting sheet, right? So I'm going through all of this, right? And making sure that I know what their purchase price is. I ask them like when they want to move in, because, sometimes they tell us, the closing date is October 2nd, and they think that they're going to move in on October 2nd. And we all know that that could be problematic, right? If they say that they're going to try and move in on the very same day, because we all know that that may or may not happen. Then you get the calls of, well, I scheduled the movers and this, and I'm like, well, we all know, we're in the business that you can't count on that closing date, right? As much as we're all going to do our best to get us there, there's things that happen on the other side that may or may not, like there's like 1,000 people involved and 1,000 things that can go wrong. So then if I ask that question up front, I can educate them and prevent them from making this mistake, because maybe they said October 2nd, but it's not like they had to be out of their place or anything. They just thought they were excited. They wanted to move the same day. So then we can tell them, hey, you know what, that's cool, but maybe you don't schedule movers until you have your clear to close. And we know that the seller's done their CO and all these other things, right? Or the inspections have been resolved. So we tell them things like that because we know that these are the things that happen. So having a checklist, though, reminds me to ask these things. And again, I've been doing this for 17 years, but I still use these checklists for myself because it's easy. A client brings up one thing and then you go down this rabbit hole and it's easy to forget all the things that you wanted to do. So I recommend checklists for as much as you can do, right? So build the process first and then build checklists for each step of the way. And again, it's about just doing little things. If you have presentations, we've got a presentation that we do for everyone. And again, I don't have to think about what I need to talk about with them because I've got it in a presentation. So it guides me and it doesn't let me forget what I want to talk about and what the important things are. Excuse me. So have your own presentation. And if you're not, I know you do the listing appointments, but definitely recommend doing buyer consults as well if you're not already doing them. Because what you don't want to do is meet them at the house, take them out, go look at the house. And then they're like, well, I've got 5 kids and you want to go look at a 2-bedroom home, right? You find out that really what's really important to me is that I'm near train stations and you're, in, I don't know, I can't even think of a town that doesn't have train stations, but you get the point. Monroe, we don't really have train stations. Yeah, we don't have train stations here. So, they tell you train stations are super important and they're looking in Monroe. Well, let's figure out what's your,
Just add that when someone doesn't have a car, they can't afford to get a car.
yeah.
And they wanted to live in East Windsor and be near public transportation.
Mm-hmm.
So before you even take a trip out here.
Right.
There might be some buses. We're not talking about.
Right, and that's what happened.
Boroughs and they see the price.
Right.
Something they could have bought for cash.
Exactly.
And I knew that help people, but some people.
Exactly. So yeah, just talking about examples where someone wanted to buy in a town that didn't have train stations, but they had no cars, and it would have been a waste of time to show them homes in that area. So if they just said, let me go see homes, and you had said yes, as you said, it would have been a waste of everybody's time. So do that proper consultation. And I think it's also important in that consultation for you to understand what their expectations are of you as an agent, right? And just make sure that you are aligned, because if they say to you, well, it's really important to me that you're available 24/7. well, you've got to think, so you really want to be available 24/7, right? If it's your business, you probably don't want to be available 24/7. And this is the time to set that expectation of, well, hey, I'm on until 7 p.m. and I'm on day or whatever it is that you want to say, whatever your limits are. You can be clear about that expectation up front. You can decide too if they're the right fit for you. Because you may hear in their expectations that they're going to be this client that you're just going to say, you know what? 2 days, and then you might as well not take that on. So doing that consult. And then even if you don't have a formal presentation, by the way, if all you do for yourself of things that you want to cover, I would start with that. You don't have to start with a huge level of stuff. Just start with a couple of bullets of things. When we talk about checklists, just start with something so that you can, get things going, right? Video training, right? So I try to record as much as I can of what we do so that it makes it easier, even quite. I find it that myself to refer back to. Once and maybe I don't have to do it again for a while. If I've got it recorded of how I did it, then it makes it easier for me to go back to, and then it makes it easier to have to share how we did this. And then again, if you look to wanting to grow your team, having that video library for you to make like also super important. So you want to make sure in order to do all of this, ninja about your time supervising. This is one of the biggest things that I struggle with on a continual, trying, and I keep trying, and I succeed and then I fail. I succeed and I fail. So it's not there's no, I don't know, at least for me, I haven't reached the point of being consistently good about it. But, I know how important it is and I keep trying for it, which is possible. Setting blocks and saying, okay, set a half hour every day for you to work on a process, right? Identify that, okay, area, and you think about what's most important, right? Maybe I'm going to work on my listing presentation or my list. And then you can break it down even further, right? So first I'm going to work on or that part I've got really good, and maybe this part of listing, right? Whatever it is that you want to, or my post-closing, right? Whatever. So whatever part you want to feel like you can get the most, that's probably what I would look at, right? What do I have most to gain? What part of it do I have most opportunity for growth in? And then a half hour on a regular basis and doing all this work in the morning when your mind is fresh, right? Do this before. Try to do it at you're like, oh, I'll do it in the evenings while I'm watching TV or after you're tired after all my appointments, how much, or what part of you is going to show up, right? Is it going to be the 10? So just make sure you do this. Okay, sorry.
Amy, can you hear me okay now? I don't know. Tell me if this is better. So let me know if it's not better. Yes, okay. Maybe I'm getting too far from the phone. I think maybe that's why it's breaking up. So having that, being specific about what you want to do, and then also, having a time block where you're going to work on. And again, if you're thinking, when am I going to have time to do all this? That's what I'm saying. Break it down to just 30 minutes. Or if you feel like even 30 minutes is too much, do 10 minutes, right? Do one email script, right? Do something, because something is always going to move you in the right direction. And then appointments, right? Again, if you are not using a system to help you schedule appointments, it is going to be so amazing, right? Nancy, how much time did we save when we implemented this? Nancy was the one who scheduled appointments for us a lot, and she'd go back and forth with people, right? And then all of a sudden we invested in this tooling, and they have free versions of these things too, by the way. And now what we do is we send them a link, right? And say, hey, let's set up your contract meeting. And you can pick, and here's my availability. So now they can just pick what times they want. And because it's, especially you've got a husband and a wife, and they're like, well, let me check with the husband, let me check with the wife, and I'll get back to you. And in the meantime, we're spending our time, right? Trying to schedule. So you can use an appointment setting tool that can let you do that. Calendly is the one I use, but there's a few others out there that are really good too. So because you all use Gmail, there's plugins for Gmail too. Calendly certainly has it, but there's a free one. Shoot, I forgot the name. I'll look it up for you because I used to use it before I used Calendly. And it's only for one person. So if these work really well when you have like, and when I say one person, one family in your case, right? But if you're trying to do like a meeting with 5 people, this is not the best tool, but it works when most of the time you guys are doing with one family at a time, right? So you don't necessarily need to worry about the other one, but there's plugins. So then you can put in and just say, okay, insert into email, like you just automatically in Gmail has, they call them extensions. I called it a plugin, but Gmail calls them extensions. So you can look into, if you go into the extensions Chrome store, if you go to Chrome store, you'll be able to type in calendar and it will show you all the extensions that they have. And most of them are free, by the way, so you don't have to pay for them either. So you can definitely take advantage of those. So I probably it's a lot.
Which tool were you using?
Calendly,
Oh,
CALENDLY. That's the one that I use.
CLEND.
DY. Calendly, LY, sorry, LY. Yeah. So, and there's many. So you know what they say is that when you want to do something or start a new habit, you need to take action, at least one small action immediately to be able to start building that habit, right? So I encourage you all today, figure out what you want to do of these. It could be something simple as create an email template, right? Create an email template, write down your process, at least start writing down your process for something, whatever that you heard today that got you most excited. Take one step to get closer to that goal. Block time to work on it. If you have absolutely zero time, block time to work on it tomorrow, right? So do something at least to get you started towards building this, because what I don't want you to have been done is to come in here, so that was really cool, and then a month later you're like, oh, remember that was really good stuff, I should have done some of it, right? So whatever part of it got your attention, start there and take some small step today to help you towards building your processes and systems and that referable, repeatable experience, right? I think questions is my next slide, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, my next slide is to tell you about, I forgot, hold on. Why is this not in sync? Okay, I wanted to tell you about the next events that we have coming up. We've got a host of them. This is what I wanted up.
Yeah, flip back up. And then
I don't know, it's got a mind of its own. I don't understand why what's on the computer is not reflecting there. So we have an ice cream social this Sunday. I think we told you guys about it, but it's from 12 to 2 o'clock. You can scan that barcode if you wanted to register. And you're welcome to bring your clients with you and of course your families. Okay, so come join us, and that'll give you an idea to see how we run events too, by the way. So come for the ice cream, but also come to get ideas of how you can do things for your business. We're inviting clients and partners, and it's an opportunity just to hang out and have some fun on Sunday, right? So that's this Sunday. We have a Thanks a Latte networking. This one's just for realtors. So this is going to be on the 16th, and we're doing it from 10 to 11:30 at the Corner Bakery in Princeton. So we're trying to do different locations across this Central Jersey area.
Of the Jewish holiday, we switched it from the 16th to the 17th.
Okay, sorry, the 17th. Okay. All right, did not realize. So 17th, okay. So it's the 17th for those on the phone. Sorry, I had the wrong date up there. And then our next class, we have classes once a month, as you guys know. So the next class, we're going to be talking about earning higher commissions on your listings. So we have stagers coming in to help you talk about that, okay? So the stagers are going to come in. We've got their awesome, and you'll get the invite, but it's 10/13 at 9:30. 9:30, same time. Yes, it's always the second Wednesday of the month, by the way. So if you guys wanted to block that on your calendars, you're welcome to. It's always the second Wednesday of the month. That's our next session, is earning higher commissions with your listings. And then we have our Thanksgiving pie pickup party. That's November 22nd. And that's, again, a client and realtor event. That's one of the 2 events that I told you that we do for our clients and for you guys. And then our class in November is setting the stage for a successful 2022. And that's on November 10th. So those are the next events that we have coming up if you want to mark your calendars. I hope you guys can come on Sunday. That's going to be a lot of fun because there's an ice cream truck coming, right? It's one of the last times you'll get to get ice cream in the summer as it goes on. So what questions do you have? What are your takeaways? I'd love to hear, what this.
First time to set the email template
Hmm?
and the time block, the calendar.
Hang on, I'm gonna actually take my earpiece out.
You'll hear me on the Zoom?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, and let's see if you can hear the others that are talking as well. So go ahead.
Hi, so I just want to go back and make my email template and calendar.
Okay, email template and calendar.
That's very important.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Someone on the phone want to go, or Brian who wants to go next?
I mean, besides this helping increase business and just make it, easy to flow, something else I do, and I like about consistency is then you're treating every client the same and never could have a problem come up. Well, why did you do this but not this?
Right.
Whether, I mean, I've been getting rental requests on a listing that already has a lease. Most of them aren't even qualified to live there. I send the same email. Maybe half respond,
Right.
and whether I can help them or not, I've given them all the same consistent service, and no one could ever turn around and say, wait a second, well, why did you
That's a
give
good
them
point.
that and not other clients?
Right.
Now, not that all will respond the same way or even answer at all, but that you're doing it the right way, and when people respond, you can't babysit them and go and hold their hand to make
Yeah.
sure they respond to you. But if they've all gotten that introductory email, that first phone call, that text.
ECOA, right? You guys all know ECOA. That's what Brian's talking about, equal credit opportunity. Well, I mean, I guess we have ECOA if you don't. But yeah, cool.
Or
Okay.
just, and just having the consistency where they all have the same opportunity. Not every lead will turn into a
Right.
client, but they've all been given that opportunity.
So it's giving the opportunity to clients as well as, putting yourself in the best position. So I like that. That's good. Thank you. Online, Karina, you want to share?
Yeah, I've been wanting to get more organized with leads. So I don't have a CRM system. I pretty much use the multiple listing, but I think I want to try to use something that is a little bit more friendly and then have the same approach, because sometimes I'm in the middle of something and I get a lead call and I don't have the same approach for everybody. So I think some of the things you touched on today are exactly the things that I've been thinking I need to have, put together a frame of work to keep that consistency.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Padmini?
Yeah, exactly what Karina said. I'm so disorganized and everything is so chaotic, and I need to put everything in a CRM system, and I'm working on it. It's not easy for me, but I'll get there, I'm sure. And thanks for so many beautiful ideas. I'm going to implement one at a time, like, take one bite, small bite at a time.
You're going to take
One small bite at a time, not like the whole chunk and
do you
get
know
overwhelmed.
what I'm asking, Padmini, is do you know the first bite that you're going to take today? Because remember, you want to start today.
The CRM, yeah, the CRM.
Researching CRMs? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of you here that talked about wanting a CRM. What I want to make sure is that, yes, as you do that, have that be part of what you do, because it'll take a little bit of time for you to get that set up. In the meantime, don't let that stop you from working on your process, right? Or your email templates and things like that. So, because that can become a fairly large project if you get caught up in a lot of analysis or whatever. So don't let that stop you from implementing on the other things that you can do right away, because you're all using Gmail. So you can start building email templates right away for things that you're doing. And when you build them, literally what I do is if I'm sending an email and I was like, I've had this kind of thing often, I just save it as a template. Like, it's that easy. Once you start doing it, you'll realize how easy it is. So definitely work on the CRM, but don't let it take you away from some of the other things too, if I could offer that advice. Yeah, awesome. That's fantastic. Well, I'm so glad that you all found value out of our time here together. And I hope that we'll be able to see you at some of the other events that we talked about. So We have surveys. And for those of you on the Zoom, we'll send the survey out to you as well, okay? And I know I have a couple of things I promised I'd send you the email template, since that's the big thing that a few of you are gonna work on. I'll make sure that I send that out to you. If you have ideas of other topics that you wanna hear about, definitely let us know. We wanna, make sure that, our goal, as you know, is to help you create a business you love, earn more money, and more freedom through the whole thing. So if there's other things that you can think of that we can share, maybe there's people that that we can bring in, let us know, and we're happy to to do what we can on that front. Yeah. My coach told me this one thing that I loved, right? He said, a lot of you probably joined the business that you did because you wanted freedom, right? You wanted to do what you want to do. You didn't want to be tied down to a 9-to-5 job, and right, there's some, and you wanted to make as much money as you can, right? So those are the things that attract people to this type of work. But one of the things that one of my coaches said to me early on, which is what I loved, is that discipline and structure equal freedom. So when we put discipline and structure into our business, then it gives us the freedom to do the other things that we want. So I really like that, and I have to remind myself of that, because sometimes I'm like, why do I have to do this? I'm like, oh, right, because that's the way that we get the freedom. That's the way that we achieve the goals. So just remember that. Yeah. Thank you. If you guys have questions, let me know. And if you have, if you want to send messages, our team knows how to do all this, so we're happy to help out if you have like tactical questions or anything like that. We'd love to see you succeed and really, be able to implement and build that referable business. So whatever we can do to help, happy to do so.
Thank you so much. This was really useful.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye. I'm gonna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.